Prior to this, I was a career-driven, business-focused, I don't connect emotions in business kind of Alberta girl. So this led me to burnout. I was on my knees. This is one of the lowest times in my life. I had completely lost my passion. This world, this design world that was everything to me, that had brought me joy, was flat. I felt like designs and the design world had become all about aesthetic. And I knew that I needed more purpose and more passion in my life. So I quit my job, and design to me never felt like a purpose. So I moved to Toronto, and I knew that I needed to show up for myself now. So I started working with a soul therapist. I started doing investigation into my own life and the things that brought me joy and what were my soul's desires. And I was, through a series of serendipitous events, I was guided on a trip to India. So to give you a little taste of this experience, I arrived into Mumbai, jet-lagged and exhausted, into this city of millions of people, bustling with all of these sights and sounds and experiences and colors and textures like I had never seen before in my life. And I started to feel this magic. These streets are shared between a Bentley and an oxen cart. And I knew that the feeling here was palpable. So I wake up 30 minutes late to meet my friend. We were meeting at Gandhi's house. I race out of the hotel, I jump in the taxi, and I'm trying to hurry him up. And he turns to me and he says, "Don't worry, we'll arrive in divine time. Everything's okay. There's nothing to worry about. Take a deep breath." So I calm down. And I start to eat the candy that's in my purse from the flight, and we're chatting, and he says, "Don't worry, I'll show you all of the sights of the city." So now we're midway through our trip. We're on an 8-lane highway in the middle of Mumbai. And we're chatting, and I feel this sense, this urge to turn to the right. And I look, and I see my friend Anne in the taxi beside me, and I can't believe it. Her long blonde hair, her glasses, like she was the yoga instructor. I knew this was Anne. And I start freaking out. I scare the taxi driver. He speeds up. I'm undoing the window. I'm climbing out. I'm trying to get her attention. And we finally connect. And that was the moment where I knew there was magic here, and we needed to follow it. So we explored the city. We were intuitively guided to this ashram. We were welcomed with so much love and so much joy, and we were asked if we wanted to meet the Swami. Now, Radhanath Swami is a American, Jewish-raised, English-speaking Swami in the middle of Mumbai. So somehow we found our way on this magical day into this ashram. And he welcomed us like we were one of his own. So he invited us to go to this eco-village an hour outside of Mumbai. We knew we had to rearrange everything in our schedules to get there. It was the most important thing to us to spend time with him. So we got to this eco-village, and it was like a piece of paradise. It's completely self-sustaining, solar panels, their own water filtration system that their engineers had showed us. They had self-sustaining farms and animal sanctuaries. It was a piece of heaven. And the Swamis spent hours with us sitting and talking about the meaning of life and what brings us joy and purpose. And he was so kind with us and so kind with his time. And the biggest thing that I took from my meeting with him was, it's not what you say and it's not what you do, it's the emotion and the intention behind your actions. That's what people experience, and that's what heals. And so we left this magical eco-village, and I arrived back into Toronto, feeling all sparkly and lit up and glowing, and I was excited. I was ready to run my design firm now. At thought, now I can do it with purpose and with passion. And I continued on my healing journey. I continued showing up for myself. And I was intuitively guided through this healing to do my Reiki training. So I showed up there. I had never done a Reiki session on my own. And when I arrived, I thought, what are you doing here? You don't even know what you're talking about. But I felt that same call, that same inner gut feeling, like I knew that I needed to show up there and show up authentically for myself. So I completed my Reiki training, and I was cracked wide open. And something was lit up inside me. I knew that this was important, that I bring this into the world, and that other people needed me to show up authentically and to serve with this. So, I run an interior design business, so to me, I felt so strongly called to bring these healing practices into my design work. But up until this point, I had learnt on people, not spaces, so there was no manual for what I was trying to do. I was testing my practices and developing my method, and as I was connecting in with the spaces, I was getting a sense of my clients' stories and feeling their true authentic selves. It was a deep connection, a straight connection to their soul's desires for me. And this allowed me to develop their designs in a really fluid and authentic way, and it just created the space for them to show up fully as themselves. And so as I was connecting to this story, it was that first little spark, it was the first breadcrumb for me that I would follow on this design journey that I was going on with them. And I would find that I was connecting in with objects and they were appearing, and the right people were just showing up to help. And there was this sense of magnetism going on. And I knew the spaces and the clients were showing up that really needed me. And they needed me to serve, and they needed me to heal. So I'd gone on this really extensive, deep journey into myself to really understand who I was, what my purpose was, what I brought to the world. And I knew that showing up authentically and being myself and being vulnerable was what allowed other people the space to do that as well. So for me, design is all about the feeling. That's what I connect in with. So I connect in with my clients' soul's desires. I connect in with that, and that's what I hold dear. So I will Reiki objects, and I will make sure that they're in alignment to that, and I'll make sure that the people showing up to the space are in alignment for that. And in doing that, the healing just flows. So my purpose is to heal. Following my intuition is key, and design is the way in which I bring that into the world. Thank you.